Welcome to Meet the Author. This month, our authors are from different places of the world, different countries. And today we have Gamze Hakli. Gamze is a psychotherapist and published author, a speaker, and counselor, trainer, a moderator, and therapist. She had worked in a human resource for more than 2 decades and worked as a moderator with Emirates Airline Festival of Literature since 2013, conducting workshops about reading for therapy and overcoming creative blocks. She regularly writes essays, book critics, and short story in Turkish literary journals. Today, we are talking about her book, Dissonance and Harmony, her personal odyssey for inner peace and beyond. Welcome, Gamze, for this special talk about your book. Welcome.
Thank you very much for hosting me. Thank you so much, Hans.
Thank you. Your book, you say your book is a journey. It's your odyssey journey into inner peace and beyond that. It's about logic, about music, emotion, and self-discovery. Tell us about your journey in this book and why you wrote the book.
It's hard to combine all those things in one book, right? We are talking about the rational, and we are talking about emotions. We are talking about the truth. All those things in one book was a journey itself for me. I always wanted to write since my childhood, since my young ages. In order to be a good writer, I knew that you need to be a good reader. It's a prerequisite, definitely. So I was reading and reading for so many years. It came to a point that you need to also produce something. You need to put something on the paper and create a work of art where everybody can read and maybe inspire from it. So it took probably 2-3 years to plan the book, another 2 years to write it. So totally maybe 5 years. It came out in 2018, January, as a complete book. And when I wrote the book, I realized that it's so hard to write something in book format. You can write essays, you can write short stories, and you may get published, although it's not easy. But writing a book is a big journey by itself. Yeah. It also helps you to structure your mind, to put your ideas and opinions in order. Even your emotions, you just check your emotions, understand them, name them, label them, and then put them in an order again, put them in chapters. There's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. So that journey, I believe, is a difficult one, but it's an exciting one at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying you put them in sequence, like beginning, middle, and then sometimes it's very difficult to do that when you are in the middle of a lot of thoughts or in the middle going of, in any problem or something that you want to express in papers, but still you feel you cannot get to the beginning or the end. So how that worked with you?
This book is a collection of essays, 21 essays in 3 sections. So when I was actually writing the essays, I was writing in different orders. I was not following the same order that I actually told you. Only after I finished all the essays at one point, I realized I need to put them in an order. So the order just became the order of the music, basically, because the music was always present in my life in different forms. So dissonance is a musical term, and harmony is a musical term too. So dissonance or harmony, basically, it's a question of our lives. Are we living in dissonance in our own lives, or are we living in harmony? Or is it a journey to start from dissonance to harmony and coming back from harmony to dissonance again? So the 3 sections in the book is interestingly called cacophony, polyphony, and harmony. Mm-hmm. So we all start with cacophony, right? When we are born, we scream, and this scream is a cacophonic sound, basically. Mm-hmm. From the cacophony of life, we just reach, gradually, maybe through the polyphony, multiple sounds in our lives, we try to find out our own voice. And at the end, we assume that we reach the harmony. The interesting part of the book, while I was writing it, I went through lots of things in my own life, and I just realized that maybe this is a journey toward harmony, but the moment you reach the harmony, you may lose it. So
Okay.
harmony is not a final destination, basically. Harmony. That was the awakening part of the book for me.
Okay, that's interesting. So maybe we can go back from the beginning again to reach the harmony again. Is that what you think happened?
Yeah, I said you shouldn't be giving up. Life is about probably ups and downs, like for all of us. In every corner of the world. So we are all human beings. We go through similar experiences, not the same experiences, but as human beings, we go similar experiences. Our emotions, our thoughts, our journeys may look like similar. So the moment you reach the harmony, if the harmony goes away, don't be scared. You can start from scratch. Nothing tells you can't start again. You can always start from scratch. The important thing, what are the different tools do you possess at that time to start from scratch? And do you have those tools? Yes.
Yes, we'll talk about it. Now, music, it seems very important. I mean, from the title of the book until you, in your essays, you say there's always, you put related to a certain music. So can you tell us about this? I mean, how do you listen to music when you write it, and you feel this is connected to that part of what you're writing?
Music is very dominant in our lives, both for my life and my husband as well. So there's one chapter about his love for music in the book. If you have noticed it, especially his way of looking at the music, other than my way of looking. Music actually suits us. Definitely, it helps us to just go through that journey. But sometimes when I'm writing, I don't put the music on because it distracts my mind. I listen to the music before. I have the music in my mind, and then I switch off the music and I start writing. So the music plays in my mind. Anyway, it doesn't need to be over there all the time. I just sense the music in different forms. The melody, I think the art itself has a healing function, as we all know. Literature, art, music, poetry, and music itself is a powerful tool in terms of healing capacity. So I feel probably reborn when I listen to a good piece of music, especially classical music or jazz music. And I just maybe re-inspire myself to write something again when I listen to a good piece of music. But I can't play music myself, so I'm not a musician. I'm only a listener.
And also the pictures you had in every essay, the picture at the end of the essay. So there is a connection between music and between visual things also. So, and you related all these things. This is what I like. You related to them to a certain view. It's related to a certain article. Is that also the place is important for you, or also it's the same like music? You have it in your mind and then you use it in your writing.
Again, I think it's something to do. Thank you very much for noticing this. First of all, I think it's something related to visuals. We are very visuals when the writers, most of the writers are probably visuals. We just visualize things before we write. Pictures, photographs, those are the photographs I have taken throughout the years in different places in the world. At the beginning, the plan was not to use the photographs. But then again, the visuals really triggered the mind to just put things in a certain format. And I just say, why not? Then I actually chose certain pictures to just place in the book. And when you read the Kindle format of the book, they are colorful.
Yes.
When you have in the printed format here, they are black and white. Yeah. So I encourage people read the Kindle. because of
Yeah.
environmental reasons as well, not only the color of the pictures. And in every chapter, the end of the chapter, as actually you mentioned as well, there's a musical term, explanation of that in connection to the life. And there's a little exercise. Basically, those are either hypnosis exercises or different therapy exercises that people can also, do it to themselves. They can soothe themselves by doing this. A little exercises, small, simple exercises they can always do while they're sitting and reading. And then I try to connect the exercise to that picture with the musical term.
Yes, you can see the connection. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting way to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
do you think your experience as a therapist that helped you to do that? I mean, because you understand the not the logic, but what's behind all this.
Probably when I received my psychotherapy diploma many years ago, I did it in English. And that's why I wrote the book in English. I could have written maybe in Turkish as well.
Mhm.
And while I was also writing the book, I just realized, why shouldn't I combine some kind of a literary format with, therapy and visuals and music at the same time? So it's a mix of many things, basically. It's like a kind of a spicy book. You have many spices in one book. That was the main purpose. I mean, let me write something with many spices in it, so that people can take whatever spice they prefer.
Yeah, that's interesting way to yeah, because as we know, some people are visual, some people are like, auditory, so they can definitely pick which one is really related. But I love the combination. I love both of them and how you put it together. That's was really interesting. You talked about so many things in your book. What I like is about the chaos. You wrote something about chaos and how chaos is the disorder that started everything. And chaos was the law of nature order, the law of nature order was the dream of a man. The order was the dream of the man, but the chaos was actually the law of nature.
Yes.
So a lot of people I don't think they won't believe that, because we always want something to be perfect, to be 100% tidy and not in chaos. So tell us more about this.
People are scared of chaos, basically, especially nowadays. Look at the world we are living in.
Yeah.
It's mostly in a chaotic format that we are navigating through the chaos, and we try to find out our own way in the chaos itself. But I always think, instead of being scared of chaos, why don't we learn from it and then do something about it? And that might be actually a path to find our own harmony, our own inner harmony, if we pay attention to the chaos of the world. And the chaotic reality is a reality, right? Everything starts in chaos. And it's true, everybody wants order. But disorder is a reality as well. So who can say that we are orderly creatures? And we all struggle through the imperfections, right?
Yes.
We try to be perfect, but we can never access to the perfection. We can be a little better every time. So that was one of the points, especially when you're writing. That's also another struggle of people. You try to write the perfect sentence, but it's never happening. So if you wait for the very, very perfect sentence, you never start writing anything.
Yes.
So I started from somewhere which was imperfection, which was in imperfection. So, and navigating through a journey. Maybe I will never reach the perfection, but that's fine. That's not what I'm looking for me. And I think we all probably adopt similar ways of lives for ourselves, then we can struggle less. Yes. And we can enjoy more the journey itself.
Yes, but as you said, I mean, and I think sometimes chaos, it make you think more about your situation, make you find your way out of it. Don't you think that? Yeah.
Yes, chaos shows the way. I think there is one part, if I'm not wrong, somewhere at the beginning of the book, I mentioned, as you exactly said, about the chaos.
Yeah.
Yes, I said chaos sometimes delightfully shows me the way, unexpectedly guiding me to find my way through the complexity of things.
Yes.
So actually, it's a guidance.
Yes.
The
So
chaos
maybe
is a guide.
yeah, what we're going through now and what the world is going, it's a guidance to something else, to look at how we lived and how we want to live in the future. I think that's what one example, which is really we living in it now, or we lived last year in it.
Yeah.
The chaos of things. You
Yeah.
also mentioned about your mission statement. You said in your book, you always have a mission statement and you follow on this mission statement.
Yes. Oh, did I mention this in the book? Oh, shame on me. I forgot that I've even written that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
you're having a purpose and you're having a mission statement. And I think you quoted Victor Hugo saying, Victor Hugo advised us to change our opinion, but to keep to our principles. So we keep our principles, but we can change our opinion. So how important it is to have our mission statement or a principle in life, and that we follow on these principles, always remember it.
It's a daily exercise. We need to work sometimes many months to find out the mission statement, and everybody adopts a different mission statement in life, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's mission statement is similar to another one. So I think I was very lucky because I worked on my own mission statement many years ago when I was young, somewhere between 25 to 30. At the beginning of my probably career, I realized I need to formulate a mission statement and then follow my life accordingly. Of course, things a bit changed. I don't say nothing changed, but the main principle doesn't change much. So I think you need to find out what different 3-4 values are the most important ones for you. That's the starting point, the important values. Not everybody has the same, when I say value, it's not always, the ones that we know, but how do you want your life to be going? What are the guiding principles for you to just live that life? So 3-4 important guiding principles are the starting point. And then around that, you formulate 1 or 2, simple sentences, how, you can formulate your mission statement. And it takes a bit courage, a bit ups and downs, because it doesn't really come in one sentence in 1 minute. So you just spend days, months sometimes to find that statement and then stick to it.
So courage is like to face yourself and to be true to yourself. I think that's where the courage needs to be. Sometimes we can say a lot of things to other people, but to ourselves, it's very difficult to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we are not very, we think we are brave, but when we talk about others, we are more brave. Yes. When we talk about ourselves, we get scared. We don't want to, sometimes we want to deny the truth about ourselves, which is totally normal. I believe it's a human being thing, right? You don't want to accept your weaknesses, your different areas where everybody can criticize, but we all have those areas and we need to accept each other and then, build something upon it and then believe that we have the potential to move on.
And we accept ourselves also. And how can we keep with this mission statement with our values? Sometimes things happen too hard, like life became too hard or problems, and we lost the way. How can we go back to it? And
if it's there in writing, you can always go back and reread. And if it's strong enough to guide you, if you can't stick to it, that means it's not strong enough. It's not yours. Yes. Probably borrowed from someone else.
Yeah.
So, if you make it your own, then you can go back and reread it again and again, and then tell to yourself, this is the path I'm on. And as I say, like certain opinions, certain things can change in life. There are so many phases in life, right? You can't deny those phases, and we need to live every phase of the life and then move on with those phases and reach another phase and reach the 3rd, 4th, 5th phase. and accept the phases as they are. So yeah,
we have to
I
go
think
through
this
that.
is the journey. We have to go through that. Yeah.
There's so many questions, I mean, about the book, but we have another 5 minutes before we take the questions. And if we look at your three sections, in each section, you talked about different things. One of the things also you talked about metaphor, this is what I would like to talk about, metaphor and emotions. So let's talk about metaphor. Like, do you mean stories? Like, do we have to create stories in our life?
Yeah. I mean, I strongly believe, especially very recently, I got a storytelling training as well myself. We always tell our stories one way or another. We are all storytellers, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We don't need to be short story writers officially, but we always tell certain stories. So each of us tells the story in his or her own way. So the way we tell the stories makes the story less powerful or more powerful. So, and if you tell the story from multiple perspectives, then you enrich the story, the experience, right? You can always tell it from one perspective, and that perspective can limit you, can limit other people. But the same story has sometimes, 3, 4 different perspectives to be told.
Yeah.
And who will tell those perspectives? Me, you, other people.
Yes.
Then to enrich the experience.
Definitely. And the emotions, you talked about emotions a lot, also like negative emotions in positive, how then we deal with these emotions.
I think as human beings, we deny our negative emotions, right? We want everything to be positive. That's what they also told us. You need to be positive at all times. But who can be positive at all times? I cannot be positive at all times. I mean, I have a positive mood, right, in general. When I feel that I'm falling down, I try to pull myself from the ground, and then just be born from my ashes again, and then formulate something new. But sometimes you also need the negative emotions, because the negative emotions, they always say they are data, they are raw data. So if something negative going on around you, or in your brain, that means there is something wrong. You can't really suppress that thing that much. It comes out one way or another. So we need to understand what that negative emotion is and then work on it. And as human beings, we can make mistakes as well. So normal. Sometimes we say wrong things, we say right things. You can't really always say very, very good things, even to other people, even to ourselves, right? You just criticize yourself all the time.
Yes, I think that's the mistake. A lot of people like misunderstand the negative and positive emotions. And as you say, we have to have positive emotions all the time. I read somewhere that says like you are allowed to have 2 or 3 negative emotions a day, and then that's a balancing between the 2 of them. And I think that's we have to accept it. Yes, we do have, as you said, negative emotions, but a negative maybe times, but we always come up out of it. That's a more important thing.
Yeah. We need to allow ourselves to be negative, to be sometimes going by the negative emotions, but then we need to also allow ourselves to show affection and compassion to ourselves.
Yes.
Somebody told me when I lost my mom, I was in the grief period time. Somebody told me something very valuable, very simple exercise, and that was a gentleman actually in the office I was working that time, in the very professional setting. He told me, I also lost my mom, and sometimes that during that phase you need to be good to yourself. You need to show compassion to yourself. Why do you torture yourself? So that was an important learning for me. Usually we are choosing not to be good to ourselves, but we are trying to be good to other people only.
And I think, that's a lot of us do that. And this is very important that we take care of ourselves, because as they say, if you take care about yourself, then you can take care about others also, you know. If you fall, then you cannot help other people at the same time.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Self-compassion is a prerequisite for many things.
Yes. So now if we want to tell people who can read this book and what they benefit from it.
Oh, it's very difficult. I think when you write a book, it's very hard to say that. I always wish the book falls in the hands of someone who really needs the book. So whoever needs that book the most, hopefully the book goes to them.
And if we talked about your journey, I mean, the journey of the book, and you said the book took you 5 years. And how do you feel the book helped you in your own journey?
Basically, I mean, I learned many things, definitely. I learned about being disciplined in writing, definitely. I learned about writing in English. I learned about structuring a book. I learned about putting all those things in my life in an order and then prioritize basically what comes first and what comes last, because there's so many things you may write. It's very hard to choose only certain things to put in the book. I learned about how to prepare a book basically from scratch, from the very beginning till the end. I learned about how to be patient with your own book, because it doesn't finish so easily. And then I also learned about how to be tolerant to the mistakes of my own book. Yeah. Right? Because then every time you look at it, you just find something. So you're also learning to be tolerant to yourself.
That's interesting. But I think when you wrote the book, when you start writing, were you, I mean, as I read the book, I understand that you already reached to that point that you are happy to write it, or you are, you know, you are in a place you can write about your feeling and emotions and all that. Did you feel like that when you start writing it, or it just came while you're writing it?
Interestingly, certain essays in the books are being written, of course, while I was in pain. Certain essays have been, changed after everything is over. You know, like, it's not that you're having an experience, you're writing something about it right away. Sometimes you just wait a bit so that the experience, how do you call it? It just comes. It becomes like a quiet, like you can absorb it. You can really understand deep inside of that experience, and then you start writing about it. But sometimes it's part of the healing process. I think when you want to actually use the writing for healing purposes, you also write through the process. So you may cry and write at the same time, because it helps you to just heal through certain things. That can also happen. But at the end, because it's a book, you just spend months to structure the book. So you just forget about the emotional part, the ups and downs. You only focus on the technical side of the book at the end, right? Because you just want to publish a proper book.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I think we will have another session just to talk about how structuring a book and how you put everything together.
I think you are more expert than me in this.
Because also you're self-published, and this is something also we can talk about it in later sessions about self-publishing through Amazon and how all the process went through, and the frustration, the good thing, the bad thing happened during that, definitely. But thank you so much for telling us about your journey in this book. And now we can take questions. If anyone have a question, I can unmute them to ask, or they can write in the chat. If anyone want to ask anything about the book. And the book available through Kindle, and also through Amazon, like
Amazon, yeah. I think Amazon. It can be ordered. I didn't check for a very long time, but probably it's there.
But isn't available in any bookshops?
No, I don't think so. It's only through Amazon, I believe.
Only Amazon and Kindle. Yeah. Okay.
They deliver.
Yeah, that's easier. I think everyone now easier to buy it through Amazon books. So anyone have a question or anything they want to add and say to Gamze? Anything else you want to tell us about the book? And
well, thank you so much. It has been a while actually since I haven't spoken about it. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk about it.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed your journey and in the way you wrote the book, definitely. But I also, because I know your work, and I felt it's a lot of book therapy in it, like your therapist side of it is there in the book. I think without you knowing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You were very kind, and I think it's an interesting experience to remember your own book after 5 years.
Yeah, it's great.
Sometimes you tend to forget what you have written as well. Thank you so much for reminding and for organizing this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for telling us about your journey in the book and all the information. And thank everyone for attending the session. And hopefully we can meet again in different talks and different conversation. Thank you, Gamze. Thank you all.
Stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.